12 News is your local election headquarters. Today, Massachusetts Attorney General Andrea Campbell kicked off her bid for a second term before a crowd of supporters in Boston's South End.
Ahead of the event, Campbell sat down one-on-one with 12 News politics editor Ted Nesi to discuss her top priorities and to answer critics who think she should be tougher on Beacon Hill insiders.
As the Bay State Attorney General starts her re-election campaign, she finds herself battling the president in the court of law and the state auditor in the court of public opinion.
Andrea Campbell made history in 2022, becoming the first black woman elected to a constitutional office in Massachusetts. On Monday, the Democratic Attorney General sat down with 12 News to make the case for her record.
There was one thing from your tenure so far you wanted the average voter, whether in southeastern Mass or anywhere else in the state, to be thinking about as they decide next year. What would it be?
Economics and affordability. It is not lost on me that residents are living paycheck to paycheck. Affordability is still the #1 issue that folks are grappling with.
Campbell's office points to settlements like last year's agreement with Uber and Lyft, which raised wages and benefits for drivers. But this year, a new priority has emerged for Campbell, taking on the Trump administration.
We are close to 40 lawsuits and holding this federal administration accountable. It's significant work. We're protecting billions of dollars.
But the Supreme Court is generally siding with Trump. I know not every case by any means has gotten there yet. But is this just a case where Democratic AGs like you and Peter Nerona can convince Democratic appointed judges here to block the president, but then there's not an argument you folks have to convince Republican appointed Supreme Court justices to see the law the same way?
I would actually take a step back. While I've been disappointed by some of the decisions out of the Supreme Court, I would just add, actually, many of those decisions, I think, at times are politicized, which is unfortunate.
One issue that's dogged Campbell, last year's voter referendum to audit the state legislature, which passed overwhelmingly. Campbell and State Auditor Diana DiZoglio, a fellow Democrat, have clashed for months over the audit's scope.
I mean, is it currently a stalemate? Is there any progress?
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a stalemate. She has not been crystal clear on what is it that you want to audit.
Coming up new at 6, you are now a local.
Yes, I am.
You live in our region. Campbell talks about why she moved to Dartmouth and whether it's a sign she may someday run for Congress. Ted Nesi, 12 News.
12 News is your local election headquarters. Massachusetts Attorney General Andrea Campbell held a rally in Boston this morning to launch her campaign for re-election.
Ahead of the event, 12 News politics editor Ted Nesi sat down one-on-one with Campbell. At 5, Ted asked her about battles with President Trump and the state auditor.
And new at 6, Campbell talks about her move to our region and what it says about her political future. Ted?
Like every other major office holder in Massachusetts, Andrea Campbell is a Democrat. But unlike the rest of the Bay State's leaders, the Attorney General calls Bristol County home.
And frankly, I don't look at parts of the state as blue, red, or purple.
For most of her life, Massachusetts Attorney General Andrea Campbell was a Bostonian. Born in Roxbury, she served on the city council and even ran for mayor. But not anymore.
You are now a local.
Yes, I am.
You live in our region.
Late last year, Campbell, her husband, and their 2 young sons moved to Dartmouth, and the 43-year-old now frequently works out of the regional AG's office in New Bedford.
I love this community. I love this region. There are so many assets because of the people who live here, the organizations, and you can see that community and connection in the values for family, the values for, in many parts of the South Coast, for God, for Jesus even, which align with me and my values and so much more.
I don't know if there's any precedent for a state constitutional officer living in Bristol County, certainly not in modern history. Do you think it makes a difference where the people running the state are, laying their heads at night?
I didn't think so, but then I started talking to people, and I didn't realize how much that meant to them, that I would move my family out of the city of Boston to this incredible county, to this region of the state.
Campbell's move has also spurred speculation she might someday run to succeed Congressman Bill Keating, whose district includes Greater New Bedford.
Do you have any interest in down the road running for that seat?
First of all, I have a great relationship with Congressman Keating, and I want him to keep his job. But I love my job, and I plan on seeking re-election to keep it. It's an honor and privilege to be the Attorney General, and I wouldn't want any other job.
Do you leave the door open someday?
I love my job. I'm focused on being AG. And if anything, folks would often remark, folks who had this job, it's the best job in politics, and I don't think that has changed.
So far, no challengers have announced plans to run against Campbell in 2026. You can see our full conversation on next weekend's edition of Newsmakers. Ted Nesi, 12 News.